Elon Musk doesn't have more willpower than you. He doesn't wake up every day feeling super motivated. In fact, he probably has just as many moments of doubt and exhaustion as anyone else. So, how does he do it? How does he consistently push through the hardest challenges without falling apart? The answer isn't willpower. It's a psychological trick you can use too. Our brain is not built to do hard things. It's built to survive, to keep you safe, to chase comfort like it's a full-time job. That's why every time you try to make a change, it fights back, feeding you excuses, draining your energy, convincing you that later is a better time to start. And you believe it. You let your brain run the show while your goal's sitting out there collecting dust. And that's exactly why willpower doesn't work. It doesn't work because it runs out. What works are systems that build momentum. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself. It's about making action non-negotiable, so you don't even need willpower in the first place. You've tried it. We all have. You sit down, convinced you're finally going to get that assignment done, until your brain hits you with just one quick scroll. 1 turns into 10, 10 turns into an hour, and now you're watching a cat making noodles. Why? Because your brain avoids discomfort. It's wired to chase what's easy, not what's meaningful. So instead of finishing that assignment, you trick yourself into just one quick scroll until an hour disappears. And the crazy part is that you weren't even enjoying it. You were just stuck in autopilot. You think, yeah, maybe I really do need a break. No, you don't. You need to stop letting your brain play you like a puppet. Because every time you give in, you're reinforcing a habit, teaching your brain that avoiding hard things is normal. And habits? They don't just go away. They get stronger. And it gets dangerous because your brain isn't just avoiding hard things. It's rewiring itself to make them feel a lot harder than they actually are. That's why opening your laptop feels like lifting a truck. Why starting a simple task feels like wading through wet cement. It's not the task that's hard. It's the mental resistance your brain has built around it. And if you don't break that cycle, it only gets worse. So, how do you fix this? How do you make your brain stop treating every hard thing like a life-threatening event? Well, you trick it. Because your brain isn't lazy, it's just efficient. It's following the rules you trained it to follow. Hard things equals pain. Easy things equals pleasure. Every time you pick comfort, you reinforce that wiring. And your brain doesn't actually hate effort, it just hates starting. So instead of forcing yourself to just do it, you make starting too small to fail. Tell yourself, I'll just write 1 sentence. I'll just stand up. I'll just open the file. Your brain won't fight back because there's nothing to fight. And once you start, momentum builds up. Your brain realizes, oh, apparently this isn't that bad. And just like that, you're already doing the thing you were avoiding. This isn't about discipline. It's about hacking your brain's natural tendencies instead of fighting them. All right, so maybe you're thinking, okay, but what if I still don't feel like doing it? Well, honey, that's exactly the problem. You're waiting to feel ready. And that's where your brain plays you. There's this thing called the Zeigarnik effect, and it proves that your brain hates unfinished tasks. Back in the 1920s, a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik noticed something weird. Waiters in a cafe could perfectly remember every detail of an order while the customers were still eating. What they ordered, who got what. Even the little modifications like no pickles or extra sauce, but the second the bill was paid, poof, they forgot everything. It was like the order never existed. Why? Because our brains don't like open loops. When something is unfinished, it stays active in our minds. It lingers. It nags at us. That's why when you pause a show at a cliffhanger, you can't stop thinking about it. Your brain needs resolution. And that's exactly how Elon Musk keeps innovating. He doesn't just tackle massive problems all at once. He intentionally leaves them unfinished. When Musk is working on Tesla, SpaceX, or Neuralink, he doesn't force solutions immediately. Instead, he breaks problems down, leaves gaps, and lets his brain chew on them in the background. And because of the Zeigarnik effect, those unsolved problems stay alive in his mind, constantly pushing him toward breakthroughs. Now, before you start thinking, wait, isn't this just procrastination? Well, no, it isn't. And here's why. Procrastination is when you avoid starting something because the task feels overwhelming. You tell yourself, I'll do it later, then distract yourself with YouTube, Instagram, or watching a cat cook noodles. Your brain isn't working on the problem. It's running away from it. The Zeigarnik effect works the opposite way. You start the task, leave it intentionally unfinished, and let your brain keep working on it, even when you're not. Your subconscious keeps processing ideas, finding patterns, and connecting solutions. So when you come back, it doesn't feel like you're starting from scratch. You're just picking up where your brain left off. Elon Musk doesn't procrastinate. He strategically leaves problems unfinished to keep his brain locked in problem-solving mode. Instead of closing the loop immediately, he lets his subconscious work on it. That's why stepping away can sometimes lead to the biggest breakthroughs. Elon Musk's approach to problem-solving naturally aligns with the Zeigarnik effect, breaking problems into open loops that his brain continues solving. And I often use this method too. When I get stuck writing this script, when I feel like something isn't clicking, I don't sit there forcing it. I step away, I let it breathe, sometimes I sleep on it. And every time, when I come back, my mind feels fresh, and the exact words that felt impossible to write just flow. This isn't just some productivity hack. It's how some of the greatest minds in history stay ahead. By leaving problems unfinished, they force their brains to keep working subconsciously, even after they've stepped away from the problem. So if your brain is wired to finish what it starts, then why do we still struggle with hard things? The answer is simple. Because most people never start. They sit around waiting for motivation, like it's some rare celestial event that only happens once every 76 years, like Halley's Comet of Productivity. They sit around thinking, I just need to feel ready. Nah, don't be like that, honey. That's a scam. A straight-up fraudulent lie your brain tells you to keep you comfortable. You don't wait until you feel like brushing your teeth. You just do it, because walking around with dragon breath isn't exactly a power move. You don't wait until you feel like going to school. You go because, well, society kind of frowns upon you going full-time fugitive. So why do you treat hard things any differently? Why do you act like your dreams need to come with a hype team, fireworks, and an inspirational movie montage just to get started? Well, because motivation is a flaky little liar. One day, you wake up ready to conquer the world. And the next, you'd rather fuse with your bed and become a permanent mattress attachment. If you let your emotions dictate when you take action, you'll spend your whole life waiting. That's why starting small matters. If you've seen the video I did on the Kaizen method, you already know how powerful tiny steps can be. No motivation required, just simple, easy wins that build momentum over time. If you haven't watched it yet, I'll link it in the description. It's a game changer. Because discipline isn't about being a machine. It's about cutting the negotiation. If something needs to be done, it gets done, no matter if you're in the mood or not. That's the difference between people who make progress and people who procrastinate. Most people think doing hard things means going all in, 100% full grind mode from day one. That's why they fail. They try to overhaul their entire life overnight, then wonder why their brain waves the white flag by day 3. Because have you ever noticed how hard things feel easy when there's no pressure? Like nobody struggles to do one push-up. Nobody finds it impossible to write just one sentence. But the second you tell yourself, I need to do an hour-long workout, or I have to write a full page, suddenly, it feels like climbing Everest in flip-flops. That's because your brain hates big, overwhelming changes. It sees them as a threat. That's why the Kaizen method works so well. Tiny, stupidly easy steps that trick your brain into cooperating. Tricking your brain makes action feel effortless in the moment. The Kaizen method builds on that, turning those small steps into lifelong habits that compound over time. So if you're struggling to start, make it so easy you can't say no. Instead of, I need to study for 2 hours, say, I'll open my notes and read one sentence. Instead of, I have to go on a 5-mile run, say, I'll just put on my running shoes. Sounds dumb? Maybe. But guess what? Once you start, your brain wants to keep going. That's the Zeigarnik effect in action. The same psychological effect that keeps you binge watching Netflix because your brain hates unfinished business. So stop making it harder than it needs to be. Just start small, stupidly small. So small, it feels like nothing. And that's how you actually win. Because at the end of the day, this all comes down to one thing: who you decide to be. Every time you choose comfort over growth, every time you say, "I'll do it later," when you know damn well you won't, you're making a choice. And that choice, it's all shaping you. It's either building you into someone who gets things done or someone who spends their life watching from the sidelines. There's no in-between. No magical day where discipline suddenly clicks into place. You either act or you don't. So here's the ultimate question. Who are you becoming with the choices you're making today? Because 5 years from now, you will either be proud of yourself or wish you had started right now. And in that moment, you'll wish you could come back to this exact second and just begin. I leave that to you to decide. Anyway, I'm done yapping. If you want more of this, hit like so I know you actually enjoy me running my mouth. Otherwise, I'll just sit here and have an existential crisis in silence. Your call. And subscribe for more wake-up calls.